Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. Welcome to my world, folks. You know, everybody needs a little TLC, and I'm Cedric LaFleur, your host, and I'm excited to be here with you today. I'm excited about my guest that's going to be on the show today, and my guest will be coming up here shortly. You know, Talk Leadership with Cedric is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders and educators and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. And our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. So you can't give what you don't have. So first, we must grow ourselves in order to grow others. Now, we believe that outstanding leaders like yourself will help us to help others. So tonight, we're going to have another dynamic leader with us in just a minute. She's having some technical difficulties getting back on, but she'll be here shortly. So while I'm waiting on our guest to come back on, let me say this, folks. You know, every day we all have 1 minute opportunity to impact somebody's life. Every day we have a 1 minute opportunity to impact the life of someone else. And we should always take advantage of that opportunity and try to add value to people. Try to add value to people as we try to add value to them. Well, let me say that again. We should always try to value people while we're trying to add value to them. Let me get that correct, right? I'm trying to help my guests also get back online. Just back in and I'll let you in. Okay, sorry about that. Little technical difficulties on our end. So our guest will be popping into the studio here shortly. But what I was saying is we have 1 minute opportunities to impact the life of someone, and we should always take advantage of that opportunity. We should always try to add value to someone. And what I want to tell you is you need to join us on tomorrow at noon as we go through our next series of Cut the Card Lunch and Learn series. And let me tell you what, on that show tomorrow, we're going to help you unpack these 3 signs that, hey, maybe there's something you need to change in your life. And it's going to be an exciting 30-minute segment. It always happens on Wednesday at noon for that Cut the Card series. So make sure you tune into that. And again, it's about 3 signs that you need to change your life. And I'm going to tell you something else that's big that's coming up. We just put together a program called The Power of Thinking Big. And let me tell you what, folks, that program, it is dynamite. It's dynamic, and it's definitely going to make you think twice about not thinking big. But we are putting the finishing touches to that program, and we'll be having that out to you here real soon. And I'm excited about it. It's been, a while coming together, but we finally got it together for you. And when we roll it out, let me tell you what, you're going to want to hear this. Embracing the power of thinking big. And, if we just embrace thinking big any day, every day, and all day, I tell you, you can never go wrong by that. All right, let me bring my guests on here, and then we will get started with the show. Well, hello there. Welcome back.
Hey, I don't know what happened.
Oh, that's all right. Technology happens like that. It kicks us off, and then we have to just click right back in sometimes. So that's technology for you. So, folks, you see, I was waiting for my special guest here, Miss Dr. Kathy A. Thomas Lewis Thomas. And, thanks for joining the show. I want to do a proper introduction of my guests, and then we're going to get started with the show. So, Dr. Kathy A. Lewis Thomas is from Lake Charles, Louisiana, my hometown. She is a widow and a proud mother of two daughters, Megan Renee Beverly and Morgan Janae Beverly. She is also raising her 15-year-old great niece, Terriana Hopkins, who is a honor student in the university program at LaGrange Senior High School in Lake Charles. She's also part of my class that I teach at LaGrange, the 100K Club, where we teach students about the power of investing and growing their money. It's all about where the money resides. She is she is also the proud grandmother of Malaysia Deshaun Captain and Jamari Ray Clayton. Dr. Thomas' life has certainly been a journey of many trails that many people may not experience in a lifetime. Just when people would begin to branch out in their lives, Dr. Thomas was fighting for her life with breast cancer. All of her academic and life plans changed in the blink of an eye. After being diagnosed with cancer at the age of 20, Dr. Thomas pulled up her bootstraps and revised her journey. She became ill again, but determination and the will to survive and live and thrive and never give up never let her quit. She walked through the toughest times as a health educator in HIV services at two nearby health facilities. She later joined the Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office as a full-time law enforcement officer, and then she graduated from the 64th class of the Calcasieu Regional Law Enforcement Academy. She served the Calcasieu Parish community as a law enforcement officer for 9 years, where she reached the rank of lieutenant and was the only female of color in the enforcement division. Dr. Thomas is a full-time college instructor at Swallow Technical Community College in Lake Charles, Louisiana. She is also an online college professor, a practicing notary public, a certified grants specialist, and a certified teacher in the Louisiana Department of Education. And if you needed something else, folks, she probably has it on her tool belt as well. You can see, folks, we bring people here who are doing things, and like I said earlier, who are making an impact in their communities with innovative ideas and approaches. She is an active member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the Lake Charles Alumni Chapter, the Crew de Classe, right? Mardi Gras crew. She's a lady. She's in the Ladies Auxiliary. She's a saint. She's in the St. Rita Court number 31, Knights of St. Peter Claver, National Association of University Women, Kiwanis of North Lake Charles Guardians, chapter of Magnolia State Peace Officers Association, and she's a member of the McNeese State University Black Alumni Association. And she is the past president and former board member of Habitat for Humanity, Calcasieu Parish area. Welcome, Ms. Kathy Lewis Thomas to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you for coming. That's an impressive resume, and we're going to dive into some of those things this evening. So again, thank you for coming on the show. So, you know, I've spent the time, I read your resume, and but sometimes when our audience like to hear you bring it to life and give us some of the other details about your career, what got you to where you are today.
Well, I always had aspirations to do so much with my life. Initially, when I was in high school, I said I wanted to be an attorney, a criminal defense attorney at that, because I said there will always be criminals. So therefore, there will always be an opportunity to make money. But like I said, by the time I was 20, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so it caused a big change in my direction of life. It was a battle, you know, that I had to deal with. I call it my cross. It was a cross that God saw fit for me to carry. And so after doing chemo and everything, then I took a different approach on trying to achieve my goals.
Wow. Well, taking a different approach and adapt, we said adapting and overcoming is definitely something. So the folks from Lake Charles Memorial want to say hello and shout out to you. They're tuned in tonight there in Lower Isles listening. So thank you guys. You know, give our audience a sense of, you know, you were starting out your career and then you were hit with cancer at an early age.
Yes. I was the youngest person at the time that was diagnosed in this area in Lake Charles, because it was unusual back in 1989, 2 years after graduation, to have cancer at 20 years old. You know, and so I always said that if it was one thing that I could change, it would definitely be the public service announcement that used to say that women 35 and older needed a mammogram. They did change it. They changed it to 40. You know, I'm like, no, it needs to go down, you know, because by the time, if I had waited till I was 35, that would have been 15 years from the time that I was diagnosed. I probably would not be sitting here today because it would have progressed. So that was something that I was adamant about. And I openly speak of my journey because I feel like if I could just help one woman or even men, because men get breast cancer also, if I could just help them on a journey, then I feel like I've accomplished a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Helping any person, right, better understand that is definitely important. So when you at 20, you know, you're processing a lot of stuff, trying to figure out one, what are you going to do with your career? What, you know, what things you want to do. That moment that you found out, what went through your mind, if you remember way back then?
Yeah, it was a mixture of feelings because, you know, you still have that youthfulness in you that you still want to do this and that and all that. You know, you want to hang with your friends, and this was 2 years after high school, so you know I was still close to some of my classmates and things, and so it was like, okay, and now you start looking at yourself differently because, like I said, back then things were so much different than they are now. There was not anyone that they could pair me up that may have gone through this because I was so much younger. Back then, it was much older women. So I had to kind of maneuver myself through it. And there were days where I became depressed and felt different and didn't know how to actually engage in a meaningful relationship because I had a mastectomy at 20 years old. And so it took a lot of me, a lot of praying, a lot of knowing where my faith comes from to actually be here now, in spite of everything. So even having a second occurrence after and during the first occurrence, the second occurrence was like a breeze. You know, it's just that I was older this time, and I was wondering, okay, God, how much longer do I have? You know, there are still some things I want to do. But I went through 11 surgeries from 2018 until last year, 2020. I'm the only one that I know of in this area who has undergone a lymph node transplant because after my first battle, it took several years, but then I developed lymphedema in my left arm, which happens to some people when they have lymph nodes removed. So to my knowledge, I am the only one in this area who has undergone a lymph node transplant at my great doctors and facility at MD Anderson in Houston.
Yeah, the number one cancer institute in America. So, well, that's great that you're under great care. So now the reason I'm asking those questions is because it's leading really to my next question. You know, so many people, Kathy, would throw in the towel and just give up and say, "Woe is me," and all this type of stuff, and not go on to do great things like you've done, right? Because all of this happened prior to you going to the working for a sheriff's department, right?
Exactly.
Prior to you getting your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, your PhD, all of those things, right? You still said, no, 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 no. God is not done with me yet. I still have more to go on and do. And that's really what I wanted to get at. So what gave you that intestinal fortitude to say, I still have great things I want to do in life?
Well, I always promised, I'm the youngest of 6 children, and I always promised my mom that I would bring her home a degree. She passed in 2013. By the time she passed, I had brought home 5 degrees and was working on my doctorate at the time. Oh, wow. So I was glad that I did stick to my word with that. And even though I had cancer at 20, by the time I was off of chemo and preparing for the sheriff's office, I did the physical agility and everything, just like everyone else who went out there. I conditioned my body to make sure that I was able to succeed at going to the police academy and moving forward in my career in law enforcement. And I served with the sheriff's office for 9 years. I left at the rank of lieutenant, and I have no regrets.
Wow. So this is what I really want the audience to pick up on this, because, sometimes, especially coming from small towns in the South, we sometimes don't hear of these inspirational stories unless it's an athlete. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with being an athlete. I just want to say that both of my kids were college athletes, and my daughter played professional basketball. So nothing wrong with that. However, there are a lot of other journeymen and women who are out there doing things and making a difference in their lives and in the lives of other people. And that's really what I want, the message that I want to get out. So you're 20, you go through this. By the time you get to 2013, you have 5 degrees and you were working on your PhD. Now, the question I have is, what made you decide to, go ahead and get that PhD?
Well, actually, I have a friend, my best friend. She lives in Manville, Texas, and she had already gotten hers, and I took her graduation pictures, and I had 2 masters, and she was like, "Why don't you do your doctorate?" And I'm like, I said, "No, I don't think I'm going to do it." And she kept pushing me. And so finally I did it. And I'm proud of myself because I did it in like 3 years, which is very good. Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of work. So you had someone who was that mentor and inspiration person, the wind beneath your wings to push you. Okay. All right. I like that. And, we all need those type people. So to the audience, what I want you to get is, she had that mentor, that coach, that person who was, like I said, the wind beneath her wings. You need to find who that person is for you to help you go to the next level, right? Kathy could have rested. She had 5 degrees already. So it's not like she needed more paper on the wall, right? No.
I think the wall is pretty full now.
It seems like it is pretty full there. But that's awesome. So along your journey, so you go and you finish college. Then, so what made you decide? So, let me ask this: what was your master's in?
I have a master's in criminal justice and a master's in teaching.
Okay, master's in criminal justice and teaching. Okay, so then that kind of explains a little bit the law enforcement background. Or going into law enforcement. But I know that had to be a hard decision initially to do that because of the physical nature of the going through. I went through the military basic training, so I'm sure there's that physical fitness part of that. So I'm sure there had to be some decision like, oh, do I really want to do this or not, right? So how was that decision made for you?
I always had a desire, and I always wanted to be that overachiever kind of person,
Mhm.
and so I just wanted to do it. So it was never a matter of oh well, what if this, or I'm not sure if I want to do this. No, and I had a few friends that work at state police who would run me at 5 o'clock in the morning during the winter months when it was really cold, and wouldn't let me stop. So by the time that I went to the academy, I could run 1.5 miles nonstop.
Okay.
But they conditioned me for that. They worked with me for months, and it paid off. Push-ups, sit-ups,
All
runs.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So then, now so then you go to the sheriff department, you do that, and while you're in school doing things. Now you're in teaching. So what made you decide that you want to teach?
Well, for some reason, a lot of people who leave law enforcement actually goes into teaching. It's like one
Mhm.
hand works the other or something. But I was at the point in my life where I said, instead of picking up people who are getting in trouble, maybe if we teach them while they're young, then that would, deter them from getting into trouble. And so that was my whole objective when I started teaching, was if you start young with them, then you could kind of mold them into a productive individual.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what I was walking through here is this journey of adding value to other people.
Yes.
And it looks like in your journey, a part of this, and maybe you didn't consciously say this to yourself, but you wanted to. So even working with the sheriff department, right, you get an opportunity to um, educate people and teach people about law enforcement, teach people about the law. Definitely, try to stop them from breaking the law. But you get to part of that is educating people. Um, and then the second part of it is then saying, hey, I'm gonna go directly into education and add value to people directly. So your journey, the way I see it, and the way I'm trying to get the audience to understand this, is your journey is dealing with adversity at a young age, saying I'm not accepting it. I still have things I want to do.
Yes.
Getting up on the horse and riding that education horse to get your degrees taken care of. Then the next phase is adding value to people in law enforcement, adding value to people directly in education. All the while, you're still battling, because you said you had a second battle with cancer, right?
Yes, in 2018.
In 2018. Okay, so Kathy, when I look at this and I hear it, and this is what I want the audience to pick up, is life is full of ups and downs, adversity, peaks and valleys, but it's all a matter of our mental attitude when we go through it, how we're going to get through it. And you're an example of a person that definitely took the positive road in this journey.
Well, I had a saying I would tell myself: it was mind over matter. If you don't mind, it does not matter. So that's, since I was 20, I told myself that when I first was diagnosed, and in between 20 and uh, 49, a whole lot of other things occurred, losing my husband in a motorcycle accident. Um, my father died on my 46th birthday. Um, my sister died on my anniversary, a month after my husband's death. So I've lost several family members.
Mm-hmm.
And, growing up as a child, I always thought that I could not live without my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would literally pray that God would take me before them because I could not imagine life
Right.
without them. But as you get older, you realize that they're getting up in age and health is declining. So you gain a different perspective because you don't want them here suffering, you
Right.
know. But to lose my husband suddenly and my sister so suddenly, that was a whole nother turn in the road.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I totally did not expect from both of them.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So the biggest question is, how does a little girl from Washington Marion High School um, go through that and still come out on the other side of it shining?
The grace of God.
The grace of God.
Exactly. I mean, other than that, you have to have faith because it's been depressing. 2016, I was severely burned. We had a kitchen grease fire, you know, but I went right back to work. I got burned in June 7th. And in August, when school started, I was back at school.
Wow.
I still had bandages, but I was there. I don't miss a lot of time off work, though.
Okay.
I try to bounce right back. I try
Yeah.
to take care of myself so that I can heal properly.
Sure. Yeah. So that's awesome. I love the journey in people's lives. So that's why I'm diving deep in this. But one of the things that I know that you did, I don't know if you still do it or not, but for fun and this was you and your husband would ride motorcycles.
Yes.
And so do you still ride?
Yes, I do. Just
Okay.
not as often. It took me a while to get back in the saddle, but she's sitting outside right now. And I plan to ride more this summer. And I'm also looking into slingshot riding also.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Uh-oh. Well, so that's getting closer to my motorcycle. I have a
exactly.
Can-Am Spider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that slingshot, I really do. I like that as well. It's just I want to do a cross-country motorcycle ride, so my Can-Am Spider is going to be more suited for that than the slingshot. So, what made you decide to get into motorcycle riding?
Well, I started riding with him as his passenger. And then the thrill kicked in, and well, we were dating at the time. We had a fall fell out and 3 weeks passed and we were not talking to each other. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to take me a class. And one monkey does not stop a show. I'm going to take the class and I'll buy me a motorcycle. And I did. I started off on a Honda 750. And then he calls me. It was like, they tell me that you're on 2 wheels now. And I told him the same thing. One monkey does not stop a show. And so he was glad to come back then, and I've been riding ever since. And when I got my doctorate, he bought me a 2014 Harley Davidson Street Glide Special, which is what I still have now. So I'm a hog rider.
So you're a hog rider. Okay, all right. I know that I see you guys. Well, this was before COVID. I'd see you guys post pictures of you guys riding, and I know you come to Galveston for the Lone Star Rally. One of these days we'll all meet up there. Tammy doesn't drive; she just rides. I
used to like being a passenger, and then he had gotten a 2016 Road Glide Ultra with a real nice back seat. And it was so funny because I had gotten some of those goggles that you could watch movies and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I thought I could sit on the back and watch a movie. But, in actuality, you have to move your head around when you're watching a movie or whatever, or playing a game. And those virtual glasses. And he said, you can't sit back here and do that because you're going to fall off. So I realized that was not a good idea. But yeah, so the 2016 Road Glide is the bike that he had his fatal accident on. So yeah.
Oh wow. Wow.
But it's a blessing because at one time I wasn't able to talk about it as openly. But I'm a strong believer time does not heal all wounds. I do believe that God just gives us a different way of coping, different coping mechanism where you can start to move forward and start to heal. But you have to want to heal too.
Sure.
Otherwise, you just sit there and hold on to the past.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's that positive mental attitude that you have that helps you get through that. So that's awesome. So, Kathy, leaders come in all different types of strengths and in different types of packages. What are some strengths that you believe that, give us a couple of strengths that you believe that all leaders should have?
They should be strong-minded, not easily given up. In other words, very determined. They have to have that attitude to go and get it and not wait for something to come to them. Because if you're waiting for something to come to you, you're going to be sitting there a long time. So they have to have that attitude that they need to go out and make it happen. Like you say, I heard you say sometimes, you can't just dream. You got to put action to it also. Yeah. And that's what I believe. They can't be timid. A leader cannot be timid, because how are you going to lead other people if you're, passive and timid? Right. So they have to be, I'm not going to say aggressive. They have to be very assertive and believe in what they're attempting to do.
Yes. Agreed. Thank you very much for those. I'm going to put that down on my list. I always capture what our guests think about leader strengths, and I have another one that I'm going to ask you. But right now, it is time for our segment, which is called Would You Rather? So let's play a little round of Would You Rather. Would you rather meet your great-grandparents or your great-grandchildren?
My great-grandchildren.
Great-grandchildren. All right. Would you rather know all the world's languages or speak with animals?
No, all the world's languages.
Yeah, all right. Would you rather be stuck in an elevator or stuck on a ski lift?
Ski lift.
Ski lift. All right. Would you rather go to dinner alone or a concert alone?
Dinner.
All right. Would you rather live your life, be an adult your whole life, or be a kid your whole life?
If I can go back to being a kid, that would be awesome. No bills, no worries. Parents still here. As a kid growing up, we would think that, oh, I can't wait to grow up. Now I wish I could be a kid again.
Yes, absolutely. Would you rather pick the year that you die or the way that you die?
The way.
The way.
Definitely.
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know it's coming. I don't want to know it's coming.
All right. Would you rather be able to read or be able to travel?
Oh, I love to travel, but you have to know how to read too. So I would want to read to travel. How about that?
You're trying to get both of them in there.
Yes.
So would you rather be a ninja or a pirate?
A ninja.
A ninja. All right. Last one. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
$100,000 in real money.
Well, you can buy everything on Amazon right now.
Yeah, but you cannot take that Amazon card and flip it into more money, make money for you. So you can take that $100,000 and you can make it make money for you.
That's true. Definitely. Those, you have $1 million in Amazon gift cards. That's going to be like trying to sell those food stamps and saying, hey, I'm going to give you the card, you give me the cash. Exactly.
Every Christmas, somebody will have a gift card, a Christmas present, birthday, anniversary, graduation, just because. Give me the $100,000 in cash, and I can possibly turn it into $1 million.
Yes, that's definitely true.
So that's what I take.
Okay, all right. I'll take that answer. That's a good one. All right. So then, good leaders ask great questions, Kathy. And what questions do either you ask or someone has asked you and you went, man, that's a really great question?
I'd like to ask, what will I benefit from doing certain things? Um, I'm not going to step out on a business adventure with someone who has no knowledge of business, but they want you to invest in it. I have to know what I'm investing in so that I know what my profit will be. So I like to know things first.
You mean you don't want to go into Pookie's new business just because?
No, Bookie's new business may only last a week. No, I'm gonna let Pookie have that one by himself.
Absolutely. So what makes you smile when you get up in the morning?
The joy of getting up, moving
Joy.
my limbs, seeing another day, spending time with my daughters and grandchildren, talking to family and friends. Just thankful for life. I
Awesome.
know what it feels like to be at death's door. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I like that. So you know, sometimes when people get their dream job, a high performing job, they may think that they've arrived. Give our audience one or two things that they need to do to keep that job now that they've landed the job.
Well, once you get your dream job, you have to make sure that nothing should be taken for granted, because just as you got it, it's the same way that you can lose it. So you have to be productive, be a team player. Teamwork makes the dream work, so you can't go in there with this attitude that you can run things by yourself. Uh, you can't have a narcissistic attitude because you have to work with other people. And the worst thing can happen is being in your dream job and your colleagues do not care for you, because then you'll be miserable.
Yeah.
And sometimes your dream job is not always about money. Uh, your dream job is what can bring you into early retirement.
Yes.
So that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the show and Talk Leadership with Cedrick, April was our Women Empowerment Month. So let's talk a little bit about, and I know audience, we're in May. Let's talk a little bit about women empowerment. So when you hear the words women empowerment, what comes to mind?
Inspiring other women, helping someone who may be trying to get up on their feet, but not sure of the process, or, haven't walked a mile in my shoes kind of thing. Then I don't mind helping you as long as you're being productive to help yourself. Last month, I was blessed to be on the cover of Azalea's magazine, which is a magazine about empowering and inspiring other women. And I like to see ladies grow. There's nothing about me that would demonstrate envy or jealousy. I'm all for you achieving your goals, because I do believe that we all have our season. And if Sally gets to her season before me, it's not for me to get mad. It's for me to sit there and be happy for her and know that my time is coming, because I'm putting in the work also.
Right.
But I enjoy encouraging ladies to go out and pursue their goals.
Awesome. So there'll probably be some, young ladies watching this show. Could be, teenage, could be someone that's in a later season in life, watching this show, either watching it somewhere live, because we're on like 5 different Facebook pages. We're right now live on YouTube and LinkedIn. Um, or there may be someone that's going to watch it in a replay. What message would you give to those young ladies about life, career, or goals?
Well, first, I'll tell them the importance of not so much attaining college education, because you have some men and women who are in technical fields that are lucrative and bringing them to where they need to be. I do encourage people to invest in themselves, invest in their finances, purchase a home. Don't rent forever. If you're gonna if you're going to engage in renting, you be the renter. You rent to other people and not you renting for them, and increasing their wealth. Increase your wealth. Be positive in the things that you choose to do. Um, your word is your bond. Once you lose your word with people, you've lost a whole lot, because then it would be hard for people to trust you. It would also be hard for people to have faith and believe in you. So those would be some things that I would tell them. Establish yourself. I was not as fortunate as you and Tammy. I got married right after high school at 18, and mine did not work. So I would tell them, look at where they are. Take a sheet of paper, hold it hot dog style. On one side, put your pros. On the other side, put your cons. Set a timeline for when you're going to do these things. If I get married at 18, what are the pros? What are the cons? If I have a baby and I have not established a steady job, what are the pros? What are the cons? These are things you have to look at. If the father decides not to be a role in that child's life, then that's on you. How can you still manage to do the things that you want to do to make you successful? What type of support system do you have? Will you have someone to help you in the event that should happen, where you still can attain your goals? Because you don't ever want to be in a position where you have to rely on anyone else if you can help it. So you have to go out there and you have to grind for yourself. And then once you get to a stable position, then you can start including other people or extending yourself, into a family. But don't jump out with nothing, with just a pair of boots on, because you're going to sink real fast.
Absolutely. Set goals, have a dream, go after it. You said, hey, write down your pros and cons of whatever you're getting ready to go through.
Exactly.
You make your decision. I like that. Growth has to be intentional, and some people believe that they're just going to automatically grow, and it's just not the case. You can find yourself in life thinking 10 years later the same way you thought 10 years earlier, if you don't intentionally try to grow. So what do you do for personal and professional growth?
Well, I read. I research. I like to know. My brother, he comes over and he's like, you don't ever watch the news. No, I read the news. I'd rather read it. I get a better understanding for reading it than listening to what comes out of someone else's mouth. So I believe reading and researching avenues are very important, because you have to gain that comprehension for yourself. You can't rely on, because what someone else says, if you sit there and watch the news, it could be misconstrued. But if you sit there and you read it, then you develop a clear understanding of what's going on.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's how I go about, establishing where I'm going personally and professionally. I like to read and research. where will this give me or get me if I do this or if I don't do this? Is it feasible for me to branch out into another profession? How much time would I lose if I do that? How will it affect my retirement? What age do you want to retire at? You and I had that talk before.
Yeah.
I don't look to work much longer. I want to have all my assets and finances in a row so that I can see retirement and enjoy it.
Yes.
And I think, like I said, you have to research. You have to make sure that, for example, teachers do not make a lot of money. We all know that. But the retirement is worth it. So sometimes it's not about the amount of money that you're making now. It's about the benefits at the end. So sometimes you have to look at things from different perspectives to gain an overall knowledge of everything. So that's what I say, reading and researching are two things that I definitely do for my personal and professional growth.
Awesome. Yeah, we look at it from a different perspective in order to gain a better perspective, right?
Exactly.
Yes, I love this. So, audience, we're talking to Dr. Kathy A. Lewis Thomas, a little girl from Lake Charles, Louisiana. And let me tell you what, folks, just in case you're just tuning in, I want to make sure that you understand the full picture here. And it's not necessarily a doom and gloom story, but it is a story of overcoming and not being willing to give up and throw in the towel. So in a sense, it is not in a sense, it is an overcoming story. It's just not a doom and gloom. And Kathy was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 20, and she could have said that's it. I'm just gonna suffer with this and woe is me. I can't go on and do great things in life. She said, no, not at all. This is not true. She went and she fought that battle and she won the battle. And then she went through 11 different surgeries at one time period. And she said, I'm not done yet. I'm still going. And even before then, she had already obtained 5 degrees before those 11 surgeries, right? Not 1 degree, not 2. Not
6.
4, not 4,
6 by then.
5, 6 degrees. Okay. Folks, I just want you to understand there are a lot of people that are out there that are doing amazing things that inspire you, inspire hope and aspiration in you. And you're never alone. Just when you think you're alone, you're never alone. And Kathy went through it. So then she goes through that, folks, and she comes on the other side of it, and she gets diagnosed again with cancer, right? And she still said, "Oh, I'm not done yet." She's still moving on, right? Now, and the order may be a little bit out, but that's okay. She lost her husband during this time period, right? And she said, life is going to continue, and I'm going to continue doing great things, because she said earlier that she found inspiration and that fortitude came from her belief in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Now, whether you believe in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I don't know. It's not a matter of if you believe in it. She does, and she overcame. That's what we want. That's what we want you to understand. And so then she went on and had a 9-year career in the sheriff's department. She went on and now she's in education. And my point is that one diagnosis at the age of 20 didn't stop the show. So where are you in your life where you're letting something hold you back, hold you down, stop you from going forward and doing great things in life? Look at Dr. Kathy A. Lewis Thomas as an inspiration. I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I just was agreeing with you because, there's so much to live for. Last year, was a devastating year for those of us here in Lake Charles, Louisiana, along with the pandemic, and some people didn't want to follow the guidelines for the pandemic and things like that. But you have to listen to a leader sometimes, sometimes you have to step back and see what's best for you. And it's just so much going on right now that we have to have different avenues that we can tap into to continue to move forward.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Um, so, so Kathy, let's keep going with the conversation. I have a couple more questions for you. So, what advice would you give emerging leaders who are trying to find their leadership opportunities in their life?
They have to have a plan. They have to know where they're going. You don't just wake up in the morning and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the CEO of this multi-million-dollar company. Yeah, that's great, but then you have to put the action with it. You have to plan, you have to prepare, you have to progress, you have to be productive. That's the P's: plan, prepare, progress, and be productive. So you don't just wake up and say, okay, I'm going to apply for this job, and especially without any experience.
Absolutely.
Not saying that it can't happen, but I mean, you want to be prepared for whatever it is that you're trying to get into. You can't just always just walk through the door and expect everything to fall into place.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every person that's ever achieved any great things in life always said that they had a plan, right? Now, they had a goal in mind, but they had a plan. And sometimes they had to change the plan in order to reach the goal, right? If you think of Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders was 65 years old, living on $95 a month in Social Security, in a Social Security check. And he said, life is, I still have more to give. Right? It's at 65, and he took his chicken recipe and he went on the road across Kentucky to get someone to give him an opportunity to sell his chicken. And all he said was, I just want to get a cut of the profits. And he went across Kentucky doing this, and he was told no 1,009 times. Imagine, Kathy, someone at the 100th time, they just quit and give up, right?
Exactly.
Not 500 time. Imagine you're like, oh, this is just, my life is over.
It's
right?
Not working.
Yeah. You get to 750 and you think, oh man, I'm just giving up. I'm throwing in, I'm going to jump in the ocean and it's over, right? You get to 1,000 and you still say, there is somebody out there. Then you get to 1,010 and you hear that first yes. Oh, happy day.
Yes, exactly. But that's called believing in yourself too.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Believing in yourself. And that's really how we're going to in our show today, is because you believed in yourself. If you go all the way back to that first diagnosis at 20, every step along the way, you believed in yourself in order to get you where you are today with 6 degrees and a great career. And
I'm currently in a academy now. I'm taking a medical legal death examiner's course as we speak.
Folks, you can't make this up. You see?
I was home. I'm currently working from home, which has been absolutely great. I love it. So while I was home and we were in the pandemic and then the hurricanes, I needed something extra to do. So I enrolled in the course in November. I was a week late starting, but I told them, I said, I still want to get in, so I'm just about finished now.
Wow. See that, folks? And this is what I want you to hear. I know I keep saying this is going to be the end, so I like the preacher, right? This is the end, folks. But let me tell you what, this is what you get from this. Even during the midst of the pandemic, after 6 degrees, she said, I still need more education. You see, my grandfather always say, Kathy, once you put it up here, nobody can take it away from you,
exactly.
Right? And she's the living proof of that, folks. So Kathy She walked the same streets in North Lake Charles that you may be walking right now. She graduated from the same Washington Marion High School that you may be going to right now. And you think that you can't overcome, and you think that you have to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. And you think that if you lived in South Lake Charles or on the other side of the tracks or in this place or that place, if you had this, that, and the other, that you'd be able to do all these things. No, I'm telling you right now, you can do it with what you have. You just have to be like Dr. Kathy Lewis Thomas. Believe in yourself. Be like Colonel Sanders. Believe in yourself. And there's going to be that yes, that somebody's going to say yes to you. And once you believe in yourself, it opens up so many possibilities. All of a sudden, alibis get out of the way. Opportunities start coming directly toward you because you put in the universe that I believe in myself, that I can, I am good enough, I am ready, I know that I am because he said that I am. And that's what I want you to get from the show tonight, folks. Kathy, man, this has been good show tonight. So Kathy, if a book was written about you, what would the title of the book be? And what would the summary in the back of the book say about you?
I started writing and I have not finished, but it's my testimony, another person's journey. I'm telling you my story because there are some people that will walk the same journey that I did, maybe, with different spectrums, but maybe pretty much the same journey, and I always tell myself, regardless to how bad things may get or the things that I've gone through, I always remind myself that there's still someone somewhere who's going through worse or who has been through worse, so I try to keep a positive attitude at all times. I'm not a big complainer. I try to make it happen. If it's to happen, I'm going to try to make it happen. Now, if I fall short, at least I tried,
Right.
But yeah, so that's what it would be titled. My testimony, another person's journey. What would the summary say about me? It probably would say, it is what it is. That's one of my favorite slogans. It is what it is. When my husband died, I bought everybody a shirt, and that's what it said. It is what it is. Because some things we have no control of changing. I couldn't change what happened that night with him. I couldn't change that I had been diagnosed with cancer. Some things are beyond our control. That's when you need to recite the Serenity Prayer. And I always like to read the prayer of Jabez, and I always ask God to increase my territory, wealth, health, and strength,
Right.
So it would say that I would never give up. She never gives up. I believe in thinking when other people are sleeping. I believe learning is not stagnant, so therefore it's fluid. You have to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it probably would mention that I'm an overachiever.
I would say that you're an overachiever, yes. That is awesome. Awesome. I thank you for coming on the show. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed your time on the show today as well.
I did. Thank you for the invite. I look forward to maybe coming again in the future.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely make sure that we make that happen. And anytime, you're a charging Indian, I'm a charging Indian, so we got to raise the TP.
Hey. Yep. And when I first started teaching, that was my desire too. When I first started teaching, I wanted to go back into the community where I grew up at. And I did. I grew up in Fisherville, and so I went to John J. Johnson and started my teaching career there. Okay. Because I wanted to give back to those children, show them that people from the same area that they are in can make something of themselves. All you have to do is try and believe that you can.
Absolutely. And that's the exact reason why I drive to Lake Charles every week, for that exact reason right there, to let people know and see that someone that walked those same streets, walked those same halls, lived in that area, refuse to be identified by that person came from that area and they can't do anything in life. They can't achieve great things in life.
Exactly.
So awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. Hey, folks, remember on tomorrow, Wednesday at 12 noon, it's going to be Cut the Cord. Lunch and Learn series with Cedrick and Joanna. We have 3 signs that we're going to be talking to you about, 3 signs that you need to change your life. Come on Thursday at 5:30 with Talk Leadership with Cedrick. Thursday edition, we're going to have another Lake Charles resident, Mr. Noir Fairley, on the show. Friday morning, 8:30, you know I'm going to be bringing it hard and heavy with you with the Friday mental motivation to get your weekend started right. And then we're going to come on back here Sunday morning with the 10-minute word. So I look forward to it, folks. Remember, I always tell you, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and don't be on the menu. Thank you, guys, and good night.